Hello there and welcome to TVS Nightline. As mentioned, we will dive into what's going on in Sarawak, its region and the world. I'm Cheryl Shamina and let's get to the headlines. Now for our top headlining story for today, Gabungan Party Sarawak, or commonly known as GPS, welcomed the formation of a presidential council. Now, according to Chief Minister of Sarawak, Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, the formation of the council provides an important platform to discuss on government policies and strengthen the cooperation of the parties in the federal government.
Kita bersetuju. Saya telah menghantarkan Datuk Amal Awang Tengah ke masyarakat tersebut dan pada asasnya kita bersetuju secara prinsip kerana ia adalah consultative council di kalangan Presiden Parti yang akan dapat menghalusi kalau ada problem masalah di kalangan parti-parti dan kita tidak terikat. Ini adalah loose coalition, tidak terikat. Sebab itu pendirian kita di Sarawak, kita tidak berapa bersetuju dengan piagam. Kalau charter ia terikat, ini adalah konsultatif atas semangat pasokan. Okey?
Abang Johari said this during the launching ceremony of Waterfront Dalat Phase 2 on Saturday. On Thursday, party leaders within the Perikatan National Government have agreed to establish a presidential council to coordinate joint efforts. Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin expressed his gladness at being able to create a platform through which they could ensure the country's political stability and prosperity.
Right. Now look into the local industry as Dalat will not only produce sago from sago palms, but it will be producing cooking gas from sago waste as well. According to Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, the revenue generated from both ventures would be able to bring in more income for the locals who depend on the sago industry. Abang Johari revealed that the state government plans to establish a sago board similar to the Malaysian cocoa brand to monitor and further develop the sago industry. He said a prototype of a sago waste treatment and processing system has already been set up in Kampung Teh in Dalat.
Dan hari itu saya telah memberi peruntukan kepada Crown untuk membuat penyidikan bagaimana mereka menghasilkan produk daripada waste sago. Crown. Kini itu kita coba di Kampung Teh di kawasan Balngian nak mengeluarkan metan. Metan itu adalah gas. Dan metan itu boleh dipecah menjadi propane dan butane. Dan itu adalah asal untuk kita mengeluarkan LPG. Dan LPG itu ialah tong gas bagi kita masak. Jadi di Kampung Teh saya mula dulu sebagai prototype di mana kita pasangkan pipe di rumah-rumah dan mengeluarkan gas untuk masak. Jadi si lelah ngebat tong lagi. Buka je ya gas keluar. Masak.
He said this at the launching ceremony of Dalat Waterfront Phase 1, which is shaped like a sago palm. Now, Dalat sago is placed fourth in crop exports after palm oil, fisheries and pepper. Now, the B40 Group in Sarawak can purchase houses in state government housing development areas for no more than 120,000 ringgit. Now, this is in part of the state government's long-term plan for structured development in urban areas and ensuring the lower income group will not be displaced.
Orang yang B40, mereka boleh membeli rumah yang dibangunkan oleh kerajaan, iaitu harga lebih kurang 120,000 ke bawah supaya mendapat, tapi mestilah level income-nya low lah, dapat membeli rumah. Kalau punya si ada deposit, boleh meminjam daripada Mutiara dan Mortgage dengan interest 1% saja. Inilah terrendah. Dan ini adalah satu daripada pendekatan kerjaan untuk membantu masyarakat kita memiliki rumah.
Chief Minister Abang Johari Tun Openg highlighted several village expansions and development projects to be involved in the scheme. This includes Kampung Semarang Semerah Padi, Kampung Semarang Pinggir, Kampung Semarang Tanah Merah, Kampung Sejingkat, and Matang Mile 10.
Ada kawasan-kawasan baru yang telah wujud, umpamanya Kampung Rampangi daripada fasa 1 hingga ke fasa 5 yang sedang, yang sudah dan akan dilaksanakan. Keduanya kita ada kawasan Semerang Semerah Padi fasa 1 hingga fasa 5. Selain daripada itu, ada kampung juga yang baru yang wujud, Semerang Pinggir, lepasnya Matang Batu 10, dan juga termasuk lagi Semerang Tanah Merah, Kampung Sejingkat. Kampung Sejingkat pun hendak diperbesarkan. Selepas itu Kampung Buntal. Kampung Buntal mungkin akan diperbesarkan di belakang kampung sekarang, dan seterusnya Muara Tebas.
The areas named under the Village Expansion Project are all under the jurisdiction of the North Kuching City Commission, or DBKU. He said this during the Kejiranan Mesra 2020 dinner at the State Legislative Assembly Banquet Hall on Friday.
Now, the second Limbang Bridge project is urged to complete before October 2022.
According to Deputy Chief Minister of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Awang Tengahali Asan, the project was dubbed as a SIG project and will reschedule alongside Public Works Department or JKR Sarawak to constitute a recovery plan to continue the project. The project was supposed to finish on September 2021, but it is currently experiencing construction delays and will have to be rescheduled. The project is expected to complete on October 2022. Awang Tengah, who is also the Minister of International Trade and Industry, Industrial Terminal and Entrepreneur Development Sarawak, and Second Minister of Urban Development and Natural Resource, instruct those involved to come up with a recovery plan so that it is coordinated and fully prepared before October 2020.
Now, the Borneo Highway project is expected to be completed in 2023. Now, a project management consultant will be appointed soon to expedite the project, which was delayed following the COVID-19 pandemic and the change of government. According to Senior Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadila Yusof, the consultant would assist the State Public Works Department or JKR Sarawak in monitoring the project. Apart from carrying out verification processes and other related tasks that could speed up the 786.41-kilometre highway project involving 12 work packages, which is only 51% completed so far.
No. So that's why we need to appoint a project management consultant. So they will be working under JKR Sarawak. They will help JKR Sarawak in whatever ways that they can do. Of course, their term of reference duly specify what they have to do. No, PMC is only one company, but the company they will have to create under based on, for example, right now we have 12 work package. So there will be group of the team will be there to monitor each work package contractor.
According to him, the plan to appoint a consultant is justified by the fact that JKR Sarawak will not be able to cope with the sheer volume of work involved to complete the project. Meanwhile, Fadila said his ministry was working with the Housing and Local Government Ministry to encourage the adoption of the Building Information Modelling or BIM concept in designing building plans. He hoped that with the appointment, the project would be expedited and realistically completed in 2023. Fadila said this during a meetup with the media at a waterfront hotel in Kuching on Saturday. With the recent clampdown on foreign workers, it's no surprise that the labour-intensive construction of the Borneo Highway is the hardest hit amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Hence, the government called for the continuous supply of local workers to expedite the project without being heavily dependent on foreign labour.
That's why we encourage the local people right now, so that the local people will be involved in construction industry. So those who are interested, they can register themselves with CIDB so that they can get certain training and certification. Number two, those foreign workers who are in Malaysia, they can still be absorbed to work in construction industry, provided they don't have any criminal track record.
He said the previous budget, which had been approved by the federal government, had allocated approximately 1 billion ringgit for each respective project in Sabah and Sarawak. Now, good news as Works Minister Datuk Seri Fadila Yusof announced that Phase 1 of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road or SSLR project will commence in January of next year.
Jajaran Sabah Sarawak Link Road ini sebenarnya juga akan merupakan bypass, Brunei bypass daripada Kelab Miri. Kalau kita nak ke Limbang Lawas, kita akan bypass Brunei. Jalan ini in long term itu perancangannya. Jalannya agak jauh sikit kalau kita menggunakan Miri untuk ke Limbang Lawas, tapi disebabkan perubahan dasar juga di peringkat Brunei, di mana siapa yang nak melalui Brunei sekarang ini dia terpaksa melakukan beberapa proses. Disebabkan itu ada kehendak daripada Limbang Lawas khususnya untuk kita adakan bypass.
According to him, the SSLR project will be implemented in phases where Phase 1 will be from Lawas to Kampong Pa Berunut and Phase 2 will be from Kampong Pa Berunut to Long Lama. The total proposed budget costs approximately 1.2 billion ringgit, although the project was behind schedule due to the sudden change in Brunei policy that was set previously. However, it has already been decided along with the contractors appointed in November 2020. Now, the Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah graced the state funeral for the late Tun Raha Muhammad Noah at the National Mosque today. Her Majesty arrived at the mosque at 2 p.m. and was welcomed by the Prime Minister's wife, Puan Sri Noraini Abdul Rahman, before being brought to a waiting room while awaiting the arrival of Tun Raha's remains.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin arrived at the mosque at 2:10 p.m. Meanwhile, Tuan Yang Terutama Tun Pen Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud paid his last respects upon Tun Raha at the Ar-Raha Mosque in Kerinci earlier today. Also seen were former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and his wife Tun Dr. Siti Asmah Muhammad Ali. Sultan of Selangor Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah and Sultan of Perak Sultan Nazrin Shah also arrived to give their last respects to Allahyarhamah Tun Raha in the mosque. Tun Raha, the widow of Malaysia's second Prime Minister Tun Abdul Razak Hussein, and mother of former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak, died at the Prince Court Medical Centre on Friday afternoon.
Following the same news, Sarawak Chief Minister Dato' Petinggi Abang Johor Hari Tun Openg has expressed his condolences to the family members of the late Tun Raha Muhammad Noah, who passed away Friday afternoon. He said Tun Raha was very close to his mother, Toh Puan Dayang Masnya Abang Abdul Rahman.
Kita bagi pihak rakyat Sarawak mengucap takziah kepada keluarga Tun Raha yang telah meninggal kita. Sebenarnya Tun Raha sangat rapat dengan pemimpin sebelum kita lah. Kerana ketika Tun Razak menjadi Perdana Menteri, beliau sering berkunjung di negeri kita. Dia rapat dengan ibu saya. Dan inilah generasi mereka. Jadi kita mengucap takziah. Moga-moga rohnya akan ditempatkan bersama salih.
Tun Raha was buried at 3:15 p.m. on Saturday at the National Heroes Monument at the capital city alongside the late Tun Suhailah Muhammad Noah, widow to former Prime Minister Tun Hussein On.
Following the updates on COVID-19 vaccine, the government expects to receive the first batch of COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer in February next year. Minister of International Trade and Industry, Dato' Seri Azmin Ali said Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin told the Cabinet this at a recent meeting. Azmin commented that the government is making efforts to get a bigger supply of vaccine to meet the needs. He also added that the government was trying to buy the COVID-19 vaccine from several other pharmaceutical companies. On November 24, Malaysia announced that it had secured an initial supply of 12.8 million doses of vaccine from Pfizer, enough to give free immunization to 6.4 million Malaysians, or 20% of the population. Meanwhile, the first delivery of 1 million doses will be made in the first quarter of next year, which will be followed by 1.7 million doses in the second quarter, 5.8 million doses in the third quarter, and 4.3 doses in the fourth quarter. Now on to some COVID-19 updates, as Malaysia recorded 1,153 new COVID-19 infections on Saturday. According to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, the country also reported one new COVID-19 fatality, bringing the country's death toll to 433.
Active cases in the country now stand at 15,294 cases. In total, Malaysia has recorded 91,969 COVID-19 cases. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Sarawak recorded 2 new cases of COVID-19, with one locally transmitted case in Sibu and one imported case in Miri. With the 2 cases, the total number of positive cases in the state increased to 1,087. Sarawak has no active COVID-19 clusters after the Besi cluster was declared ended on Saturday.
Now, lockdowns and distancing guidelines have already curtailed Christmas celebration this year. Nevertheless, many people who would normally gather at this time of year will no longer be able to meet. Now, in line with the new normal, coming together, even remotely or in more intimate groups, allows us to engage in activities relevant to our shared identities. Now, let's hear what the public have to say. For Sylvia Tan, this year's Christmas celebration is very different because many activities are not allowed.
This year punya dia memang lain lah. So normally it's our celebration in church. We have activity like Sunday Mass or this Christmas Mass, and then this time they have limit. So for our activity have to separate into 2 or 3 sections.
在这个疫情当下，我们在这个 Christmas 里面都会有限制20人嘛，这样我们也是要跟着遵守这个 SOP 啊，就是当那些亲朋戚友来的时候，那我们就要给他们去洗手一下，然后再交换礼物咯。
Bagi pendapat kami, Christmas tahun tu agak berbeza berbanding tahun lepas disebabkan PKP yang kita terpaksa limitkan guest yang datang ke rumah, and family members yang dari jauh pun tidak dapat nak celebrate dengan kita tahun tu.
Meanwhile, Ellie Chin hopes that everyone who celebrates Christmas this year adhere to the stipulated standard operating procedures, or SOP, to curb the spread.
But I hope they will. I hope they will, because you see, when we have child, they are the one who more easy to get COVID, right?
According to SDMC, the Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP, for Christmas Day celebrations will limit private gatherings to only close family members. Meanwhile, Senior Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said church prayer sessions will also be allowed at conditional and recovery MCO areas, but at limited time. However, open house sessions and Christmas caroling are not allowed. Now, one of our headlining stories today, the establishment of the Persons with Disabilities, or known as PWD's Communication Unit next year, will be the first task to be handled by the Department of Community Communications, or now known as JCOM. Now, this was said by Minister of Communications and Multimedia, Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah. According to him, it has been planned that the unit would be represented by all 7 types of disabilities to cater to the group's different needs, as the delivery of communication must be in a careful and systematic manner. Saifuddin added that the unit will be set up in collaboration with the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, or KPWKM, taking into account their experience and skills in handling the PWD groups. Meanwhile, he also described the establishment of the unit as timely because the ongoing census would allow the ministry to obtain more accurate information on the number of PWDs among the population, as the current figure stands at 600,000, is much less than the actual number. Now, some news for students, as B40 households, Sijil Pelajar Malaysia and Sijil Tinggi Persekolahan Malaysia candidates will soon get to enjoy attractive internet packages from 5 telecommunication companies.
In a statement today, the Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission said the initiative by Celcom, Digi, Maxis, U-Mobile and Telecom Malaysia in the first quarter of next year involves special data packages for SPM and STPM candidates until the examination ends in April. Students from the B40 lower income group families can also apply to get mobile phone without charge. This initiative also covers free Wi-Fi access provided at the public spaces at 130 people's housing projects throughout the country until the end of April 2021, which will be undertaken by Celcom, Digi, Maxis, U-Mobile, TM and Time. In addition, community internet centers operating hours from now will be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to make it easier for SPM and STPM candidates and students from B40 households to conduct their learning and daily activities.
For our local transport system, the Sarawak government has decided to extend the RM1 flat rate bus fare program next year after receiving positive responses from the public. Now, the extension was made to lighten the financial burden of the people, particularly the low-income group, during the COVID-19 pandemic.
According to Minister of Transport Datuk Lee Kim Shin, the program, which was launched in May this year, is aimed at encouraging more people to use public transport and to reduce the number of private vehicles on the road. He said the program will involve 12 bus companies covering 48 approved bus routes by the Commercial Vehicle Licensing Board in Kuching, Sibu and Miri. Lee, who announced the continuation today, added that the program will be expanded to Bintulu next year. He also said the ministry would collaborate with the local government and housing ministry as well as local authorities to enhance related infrastructures in the upgrading and building of bus station and bus stops in Sarawak.
And that wraps up TVS Nightline for tonight. Thank you for joining me tonight here with me, Shal Shamina. I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Stay safe.